What's up, everybody? It's HBT. I'm with my man, Ray Underwood, member of the Straight Up Wrestling family. What's going on, Ray?
Just sitting here watching some Impact Wrestling, buddy.
All right, so Ray is watching Impact Wrestling, man. Hey, that's something I wish I could have got a hold of and watched earlier. Didn't it come on at 8 o'clock, Ray?
Yeah.
Okay, what is it? Over? Is it past 10? It's past 10 now. What is it? Is you watching it the rerun, or pretty much it's still
I'm watching some older ones of the Impact.
Okay. Well, Ray is watching the Impact, but guys, hey, I wanted to come on and just pretty much talk a little something, talk a little bit about something. This is something that I have been wanting to do. I haven't done it yet, but I already had came up with the idea of running this show, and it was pretty much a take on. It was pretty much a continuation on the investment in wrestling. Is it worth your time and investment to be following wrestling? But basically, this right here, man, is saying, I'm asking everybody, what's in it for me? What's in it for us as the wrestling fans? But hey, I know what's in it for me as far as a wrestling fan. What's in it for you as a wrestling fan? But all together, the collective all together, what's in it for us to be wrestling fans today? Is wrestling delivering a product that that's worthy of us investing our time in it the way we do? I mean, you have so many different shows. Like my man Ray here tonight is watching Impact Wrestling. And how many other wrestling shows we got, guys? We have Monday Night Raw. We have Tuesday night, we have NXT. Wednesday nights, we have AEW Dynamite. Thursday nights, we have Impact Pro Wrestling. Friday night, we have SmackDown. Then we have Rampage. Saturday, we have Collision. And that's not counting all of the independent shows that's out here running. That's not counting MLW. That's not counting NWA Power or anything like that. So
OVW.
What's that now?
OVW.
Yeah, OVW. So it's a saturation of wrestling out here today. And when it boils down to it, a lot of wrestling fans put a lot into it. They put a lot into it. But is wrestling giving back? That's what I want to know. Is wrestling giving back? Is it worth your time? What's in it for me? And I can tell you what was in it for me as a fan growing up, and I'm pretty sure Ray can tell you the same thing. So, Ray, you watching Impact Wrestling right now, man. So you going back. So, hey, man, what's in it for you? Okay, you're a wrestler. You have, you are trained, you wrestle, and you've been a fan for basically all your life. But what's in it for you today to be a fan of today's wrestling? What's in it for you?
Today's wrestling, compared to like when we grew up and everything,
right?
Some of it's hard to get used to, like for their storylines. Some of their storylines are stupid.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And it's hard to get into some of their storylines when they have it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I'm saying here? I love seeing the high flying. I used to love seeing, the brawling.
Right.
And now you really don't see much of that anymore.
That's true.
And lately, everybody's been getting into let's attack this person and that person. When we grew up watching, they weren't doing all that.
Heck no. I mean, we saw an attack every now and then. The attacks was something that you could go out in the neighborhood and you can start talking to people about. You can go to your job.
Right.
You go to school and you can talk about, hey, did you see wrestling this Saturday, man? You saw the attack. They got attacked. What? They got attacked. And then everybody wants to see that. They hate that they missed it. So, you hoping somebody, you hoping somebody caught that. You hoping that they rerun the tape or whatever, or you hoping a little bit later on in the late 70s, 80s or whatever, somebody got a VCR or whatever that they can play it back for you. So you're hoping that, or you just basically got to get word of mouth and talk to other people because there's a lot of other people and you try to find the best person to give it to you as clear as day. but most times you had to wait till the next Saturday to see what happened. You know, it wasn't instant like it is now. So, but it was so exciting when somebody did get attacked, or if somebody switched, if a person that was a baby face became a heel, or a heel became a baby face. The thing about it back then, what was so great about it, and what was so worth our time, you know, was that we saw that we could see that at any time. It could happen at any time. Somebody could switch up. They could switch up at a house. You know, they could flip at a house show. They could flip on TV. We saw it all the time on Saturdays. They would flip on TV. It was not always these main shows or whatever. It didn't have to be a big house or something like that. You know, it didn't have to be Madison Square Garden, Greensboro, or Memphis Coliseum or something where somebody would switch, somebody would flip on somebody else. So man, it was so good because you never knew what was going to go on. Wrestling to right now, to me, most of it is predictable, and then you have the fans driving it. You having the fans drive a lot of it, and I think a lot of them don't realize exactly what they do, because when they don't give what they want, they go on social media and they complain about it. So basically, they want wrestling to be the way they want it to be, and and they want to see it the way they want to see it without realizing that. And then they complain about, hey, the bad booking and all that. It's crazy, man.
Oh yeah. Well, that's just like, if you talk wrestling now and you bring up, say, Karrion Kross, for instance.
Right.
You bring up his name, all of a sudden I've had friends look at me, who do you attack this time?
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah, that is flat out crazy. That's just it blows my mind. So, and Karrion Kross, he doesn't need to do that. I mean, to prove that he's, some bad boy or whatever. I mean, goodness sake, people like him should do all their work in the ring. They should take care of business in the ring. He doesn't need to be attacking people. So, man, that's what I'm trying to say is, man, is it really worth it when it boils down to it? I mean, yeah, like I was talking, you and I, we had a conversation earlier off camera, man. I have wrestling I still have wrestling at a C+ level. And wrestling when before Vince had came back and Triple H had took over, looked like he was running it by himself. WWE had got up to like a B- for me, man. They was really getting up there. They was really moving. They still up there pretty high, but they was really moving up the charts, man. Really getting me back invested. It was worth my time, and hey, I could see, hey, this is what just like they just played off that Bloodline storyline. This is what's in it for me. I get to see the Bloodline. And I could take that back to great storylines like we had back in the day. Let's take Tully Blanchard and Magnum TA, that great storyline they ran with back in Jim Crockett back in the old days, man, and before they had the I Quit match. Man, that was incredible. That was incredible. And so I'm like, that's what's in it for me. Seeing Ricky Steamboat and Ric Flair for years battle through the 70s up to the, into the early 90s for that, for different championships, Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Championship, the United States Heavyweight Championship, and then the World Championship. But they had so many great battles. So, Roddy Piper coming in, and Roddy Piper, the thing he had with Greg the Hammer Valentine, and finally the culmination of the chain match, was the dog collar match?
Yes, the dog collar match.
Piper ear got messed up. Those are the things, man, that I look forward to and just had to see. And it was must-see TV back then. WTBS Superstation, all the way back to the late 70s, man, early 90s. I mean, late 70s, early 80s. They drew 3.5 million people every Saturday at 6:05. Every Saturday, it was must TV. And you look at a lot of other things. Mid-South the same way. Memphis wrestling the same way. So it was so many different things up in Ohio, and then they went around the country. They was the first ones tried to expand. I think it was IWA, which had Mil Mascaras, Ernie Ladd, Bulldog Brown, and all those guys. Man, and it was so exciting, and you never knew what was coming. That's one thing about it. Storylines always develop, but the storylines develop on the best wrestlers. that's one thing that I seen when I came back and started watching wrestling again. It seemed like they try to make a storyline for every wrestler. Your storyline's supposed to be on your best wrestlers. The other guys go out there and they have their preliminary matches and they have their mid-card matches. Your storylines is with your top guys, and that's where you need to have them. If you try to put it on everybody, man, it's not gonna work. But yeah, I really don't understand it, Ray, man. You know, the way they want to run things today, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to really invest your time in it. And I just wonder, I just wonder the contract, because everything is a contract when it boils down to it. You know, a business start, you know, hey, if I don't care, it could be a local hot stand on the corner, you know, a hot dog stand, local hot dog stand. And you right there outside of a neighborhood, or you right there around some businesses, and you want to sell your hot dogs to all those people that's coming through. You want to, hey, why should I invest in it? What's in it for me? Is this going to be the best tasting hot dog that I can get? Is this going to be a better tasting hot dog than me going into the local grocery store and buy me a hot dog, you know, a Oscar Mayer wiener, or, you know, Bar S or whatever? Are you going to give me a great wiener? You know, are you going to give me something that I can say, hey, that hot dog had a great wiener on it. You know, that hot dog had great, you know, great condiments on it, or whatever. You know, that's a contract between you and people. So these people coming up to you and they buying this from you, and you asking these people to come back, you know, you have to give them something. You know, they giving you their money, then hey, I'm asking that person, hey, what's in it for me? I buy a Coke from you. Is that Coke gonna be? It's gonna be filled with ice? You know, what's in it for me? Is it gonna satisfy my thirst? Is it gonna be worth my money? Is it gonna be worth my dime? So the same thing with wrestling today, man. And you know, I'm just beginning to wonder. You know, beginning to wonder, not with all of them, but some of these wrestling organizations, and everybody out here know who we talking about, is not holding up. It's not holding up their end of the bargain, and pretty much it's like ripping people off, man, when it boils down to it.
Well, that's just like, Harry, you know, you and Chris talk a lot about AEW,
right?
And sometimes you guys say that it's not worth really watching and everything. Well, you know as well as I do, all the indie shows you go to.
Yes.
Okay, what big company has Darby Allin really worked for?
Outside of AEW?
Yeah, outside of AEW.
Was it OVW? Oh, the thing out of Florida? I can't remember. They wasn't really big, but
right.
As far as indies, yeah.
And that's my point. Most of the guys that they have, besides, you know, Moxley and some of the guys that came from WWE,
right.
Most of these guys were mainly in the indies.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, only reason why everybody heard about, I'm trying to think, Omega and the Young Bucks is because they were in Japan wrestling.
In Japan, yes. Mm-hmm.
But other than that, where else did they wrestle?
That's true. That's true. I mean, Ring of Honor, I think what's the name was in Ring of Honor for a little while, Young Bucks, but basically nowhere, man. Nowhere.
Right. And so you got to look at the guys, everybody needs to look at it as a lot of these guys are from the indies, so they don't have the training that they do in WWE.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, do they do a good job? Yeah, but you can sit there and see the mistakes that they make, and sometimes that makes it hard to watch.
That's true. That's true. Over and over and over again. And, you know, you being a wrestler, Chris wrestled, and, you know, me being around it, doing all the commentary, I've been in the background, you know, being always going backstage, talking to a lot of wrestlers and seeing it, and been to a lot of, been to some of the practices and things, seeing the stuff, you know, when they're making mistakes, you know, and it's like, wow. And a lot of the stuff is clear as day. I see on Tatiana's podcast, man, she talk about the botches. She talks about things that they miss. You know, people can see it. We got HD now, man. I mean, not just HD. We got 4K, 3K, 4K. It doesn't even went past that. So you see so many things that you actually did not see on analog TV. You can see it a lot more clear. And when people know, you know, they know that the gig is up, that, you know, we don't have kayfabe no more, but still, when it boils down to it, you still can run great storylines. You don't have to have kayfabe. it still can be great storylines, just like, you know, soap operas and things like that, to where people are gonna follow and believe in it. You know, believe in it and say, hey man, this is very entertaining. It's worth my time. You know,
Right. Just like we were watching, was it Ruby Soho the other day?
yes,
And you seen her also one of the moves. What was it? I forget what it was. And she bent over waiting on the girl to do a move. And I'm like,
yeah,
come on.
oh yeah, yeah.
And you even see the guys do it. And I'm like, really?
That's true. That's
Just
true.
every once in a while you'll see it happen maybe in the WWE, but it's not as bad.
Right. That's right. Yeah, they are so good that they can cover up for a lot of different things. These wrestlers, they can get in there, man, and they can improvise and they can do it very quick. And so, yeah, a lot of it comes down to the training. And man, what does that say about Tony Khan? Because look, they don't have they're not doing that. They don't have. I don't think they sending people to a training school to have these guys going through retraining, the ones that came out of the indies and things that's not trained very well. And you know, it's obvious. You see it. It's easy to see, and not good at all, man. So I don't know. I'm just, man. I look at things and I'm like, man, is this worth it? Is it really worth it? And when we go to indie shows, I expect a lot of these things. I expect a lot of this stuff to happen. But there's some indie shows I go to, man, and the show is better than AEW shows. You know,
Exactly. I mean, I've been to some too, and often I'm looking and I'm like, okay, why aren't these guys on actual TV?
That's true. That's true. And so, and I mean, that's no excuse. That's no excuse. I mean, I can see an indie show coming out there, and it's all about matchups. When it comes to wrestling, you know, boxing, any kind of UFC, any kind of combat sport, it's how you line your show up. You know, you can take a bunch of C-level guys and make them look A-level if that card looks right. If everybody match up right and people, you know, don't have a lot of mismatches, you can have a great card. You can have a great card like that. And sometimes you can have, like I said, you can have all superstars on that card. And we've seen it time and time again with AEW and WWE, where it's full of superstars and the whole thing is just messed up from beginning to end because the way they book the show, and it's not good, and who they match people up with. So, you know, that has a lot to do with it. But man, that's just flat out crazy. But
you know, and my question is, I want to ask our fans that's in here in straight up wrestling.
Oh yeah.
What do they really want to see?
That's true.
From WWE, AEW, what do they really want to see?
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. Let's see what we got here. But yeah, that's a valid question, man. 100%. You know, what do people want? All actuality, what do they want to see in wrestling?
And besides JL, not to cut you off, besides JL wanting his man in WWE on the main roster with the title already.
Oh yeah. We know that JL wants that. But man, I don't know. Look like we got a lot of people. Probably going to bed or they're not on, because usually I get on at this time, man. We got a lot of people just start streaming in. But you know, it's all cool. But they'll see it a little bit later. But yeah, what in the world do you guys want to see? I mean, do you want to see it the way that you're seeing it you're seeing it at home? You done conjured up your own booking, and you basically, this is what you want to see, and that's it. You don't want to see what Triple H is trying to do. And do you believe Tony Khan, man? Do you believe that he has to go in and find some people? I mean, I'm talking about find legit people. He already got them around it. Find legit people to actually help him run the card, man. Get those cards right, because there's no excuse for it, and he can easily get it done.
One thing we all both know, that Tony Khan needs some better writers, storytellers.
There's no doubt. Like I say, you know, the creative process over there is just horrible. And like I said, man, I have not been watching AEW Collision, but I know we've had even some of our members say AEW Collision has been good. And there's a lot of other people out there saying AEW Collision is good. But I'm hearing a whole bunch of accounts that it was just horrible. You know, people like it's horrible, and they've been turning the show off. And you can tell by the ratings. If you look at the breakdown, I look at a lot of the Nielsen ratings breakdown, and people are leaving the show, man. Yeah, they dropped 200,000 people within the first 30 minutes of the last show. So
Right.
I'm like, what's going on here? So people just like, oh, I watch 30 minutes of this. I want to have nothing else to do with it. And can we really say Saturday night is a Saturday night? A lot of people out on Saturday night. Can we really count that as? Can we actually use that as an excuse?
Right.
I don't think we can.
You know, like back in the day when we saw WWE, what was one of Vince McMahon's favorite things? I think it was back in the late 90s, the lingerie matches.
Oh yeah.
And that was how he was trying to get ratings. It's like, at first, yeah, being a young guy and all that, you know as well as I do, yeah. Jerry Lawler always said, show me the puppies.
Yeah, exactly. But man,
but then after a while, it just gets old.
Yeah, it does. I never looked at any other sport. If you're a wrestling fan, and that's one thing that I used to love back in the day. Use a wrestling fan. And all the other sports played around that. It really did. I remember fans, man. I remember football fans. If there was something that was really good that was going to happen in wrestling, they was watching wrestling that week. You know, I mean, they'll be fan of another sport. Hey, man, I gotta watch Ric Flair and Sting. You know, I got Nikita Koloff. He just now clothesline David Crockett. I got to see what's going on with that. One of their favorite sports or something. No, those people was over there watching wrestling, man. I mean, and this was casual fans, and that's where wrestling has to get back to. It has to get back to where it can reach out to that general public and grab those casual fans, and you know, that's when you know you have a product worth investing your time in. You know, what's in it for me? What's in it for me? You know, I add all this stuff to it. One of, you know, what's in it for me is what's in it for me back in the day. We know what was in it for me back in the day. Like I said, man, I was excited to see Jack Briscoe defend against Terry Funk. You know, Harley Race taking on Dusty Rhodes. Ric Flair taking on Chief Wahoo McDaniel. Number one, Paul Jones taking on Mr. Wrestling Tim Woods. Jerry the King Lawler taking on Austin Idol. Let's see, Junkyard Dog and taking on Ted DiBiase. I was excited to see stuff like that. Larry
the Freebirds going after the Von Erichs.
What's that?
The Freebirds taking on the Von Erichs.
Exactly, man. And David Von Erich and Kevin Von Erich going after the Nature Boy Ric Flair when they popularity got really huge up there in Texas, and then Kerry joined in with that. You know, those kind of things, man, that, you know, just brought me back to wrestling. So invested in it, so glad, so happy to turn on my TV and watch that, and just to be able to watch on a Saturday. You know, hey, I skipped the Atlanta Braves, and that's our family's baseball team. We used to go down and watch the Atlanta Braves all the time. Mama, I don't want to go down and watch the Braves this weekend. There's something really good happening on wrestling. Can I stay home and watch wrestling? You know, I skipped the Braves, I skipped the Hawks, I skipped the Falcons a few times. So that's what I'm talking about.
The Braves? You didn't go watch my cousin that played for the Braves?
Well, who's your cousin playing for the Braves?
His name's Barry Bonnell. He used to play third base for the Braves.
Hey, for real?
Yeah.
Wow, man.
And then I've got two cousins that are pitchers. One that used to pitch for the Yankees, Tom and Pat Underwood. One played for the Yankees as a pitcher, and his brother was for the Detroit Tigers as a pitcher.
Yeah, I remember them too. Man, I didn't know. I didn't know. But I tell you, man, I watched a lot of Braves. I over the years, it was hundreds of Braves games. I probably was down at Atlanta's Fulton County Stadium when it was called Fulton County Stadium. Probably 170 to 172 Braves games. I counted them up. I still got all the ticket stubs just about. A lot of Braves games. Probably over 50 football games and I probably seen a dozen Hawks basketball games. We used to watch the Hawks too, but I used to go and watch the Hawks when they played somebody else. The Hawks suck. Besides when they had Dominique. Dominique was the only thing they had. He was, human highlight film. But yeah, I used to watch a lot of Braves, man, a lot of Braves baseball. But if something important was coming on in wrestling, I wanted to see, my mom said, you go ahead and stay home, or especially if the world champion, even if Ric Flair was showing up, if the world champion was going to be on there, she told me stay home, watch, because she knew that was my favorite thing was wrestling. And she said the world champion was going to be there. She would say that, my uncle and all them, if there was wrestling at the auditorium, we got something to do Monday night. We're heading out to Atlanta. We're going to go watch the baseball game. You can stay with your grandma. The world champion is going to be there. So that's all they used to hear. They would hear about it on the radio. Now, they knew who Ric Flair was. They would be walking past you while you watching TV or whatever. And my uncle be like, I hate that guy. I don't watch wrestling, but I just want to go just one time just to see somebody beat that joker's butt because he talks too much. That's the kind of draw that people like Ric Flair, Roddy Piper, they used to say the same thing about Roddy Piper. That's the type of draw that they had. That's the investment. And, my uncle saying things like that, he went a couple times to watch Wahoo Daniel bust up Ric Flair with those chops and things. They really wasn't into wrestling, but they would go just to see something like that. And that's what was in it for them. That was what was in it. You take them there. Hey, they waiting for that main event. They hated the Anderson brothers. They saw the Anderson brothers just breaking people's arms on TV, and they kept doing it. And they'd be like, I want to see somebody whoop their butt. So, hey, when Paul Jones and Wahoo McDaniel got together and started beating up the Anderson brothers, they wanted to see it. My uncles went out there, and my aunts went out to wrestling with me to see that. Man, that was incredible. But that's what was in it for them. They enjoyed that 100%. And so, us getting to see all those great matches, those great feuds, and that's even going up into the WWE days, the WWF days, even when, in the cartoon era, you could say, when, you had Hulk Hogan and Randy Macho Man Savage and Ultimate Warrior and all these guys doing their thing. But still, you had great feuds, man, that broke out up there in New York. You had, Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy. That was something to invest your time in. That was something that, gave you a great feeling to see that. Like, can this big giant take down Hulk Hogan? Randy Macho Man Savage versus Rick Rude. And Randy Macho Man Savage, Rick Rude, a great wrestler, great grappler, knew how to know his business. Ultimate Warrior, all he was a big brawler, man. He run in there and pop a few moves and, and get the crowd pumped up. But still, that was worth your time. It was worth your time to invest in that and watch that. So I understood that 100%. But what do we have now? What do we have now? And I'm asking, what's in it for me? Yes, there's plenty of stars. There are plenty of stars over there with AEW, that they can roll out to us. But, every time somebody get momentum over there, then Tony Khan, he sweeps it away from him. He takes it away from him. Wardlow, Hook, Ricky Starks, Powerhouse Hobbs, who else, man? Acclaim, so many different people, man. Let's see. What is this dude's name? What is the guy? Who's the guys with the titles now? FTR. We done seen them plenty of times get momentum, wipe it right from them. So I'm just like, wow, man, look at this. But we could go back in the last 2 years and say WWE did the same thing. They done a lot of that too. I can't sit here and say they didn't. They did a lot of it too. But man, nobody does it as good as Tony Khan. Nobody. Man, it's crazy. It's crazy. So that's what I'm asking, man. That's what I'm asking the fans. I'm asking everybody, what's in it for me? What's in it for us as wrestling fans? Do you actually have the time and energy to continue to waste it, trying to watch wrestling? Because what we basically doing is trying to make it up in our mind to make it better than what it actually is. Ray, and I don't know if that's worth it, man.
Right. And a lot of times, like me and you, and I know Chris too, when we watch it, we start comparing it to back when we were younger.
Oh yeah. And that's what that's what you have to do. there are older fans. I know there are older fans.
Now, like my sister, she used to be a big wrestling fan, just like me.
Right.
And she won't even watch it now. She goes, "It's stupid. It's ignorant. I'm not watching it." That's exactly what she says.
Yeah, yeah. And I have friends, man, that like I told you earlier, I have friends, man, that say it's getting embarrassing to watch, and then eventually they just stop watching.
Because my sister's biggest wrestler that she loved was Ricky Steamboat and Tito Santana.
Oh, wow. Both good wrestlers, both very good wrestlers. And so I don't know. It's like, do you feel comfortable? Would you feel comfortable just by walking up to somebody that you hadn't seen in a long time and just start talking wrestling, to start talking today's wrestling with? Would you feel comfortable doing that?
Right. I mean, I've tried. Some of my friends that I knew used to watching that, and they go, "Man, I don't watch that stupid stuff anymore."
Exactly. And
they looked at me and they go, and the thing is bad is they look at me and they go, "You still watch that? It's stupid. I tried to watch it. It made no sense." I looked at him and I said, "Dude," I said, "I was a wrestler."
Right.
I said, "I'm a real wrestling fan." I said, "I sit there, I'll watch it." I said, "If it don't make sense, I get pissed."
Right. Oh yeah.
I said, but I still watch it. I said, I mean, just like you, some of the boxing matches, you watch, some of those don't make sense.
That's true. I mean, so
and you were a heck of a boxer.
Heck yeah, and I continue to watch, man. And I get really pissed off and know the judges. And some of these, and a lot of times you can predict these judges going to come back with an awful score, man. You could tell, and it really makes you mad. And I mean, there's times, man, I just turned it off and then watched for weeks. I said, man, this is done pissed me off. And I'm like, I can't believe I'm involved in that. And I've been judge at for Golden Gloves. They call me up and say, Harry, we want you to come out and judge this year's Golden Gloves. Do you have the time? What's your schedule look like? And and not the last time, but the 2 years before, in 2019, they asked me to come and judge. And man, I was like, who am I judging with? I didn't know if they was corrupt or anything. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm wondering if these guys gonna judge it up and up. It's one guy, one woman, out judging with me, and they judge everything up and up. So, but you never know what's gonna come down the pipe. And then when it boils down to it, a lot of times the matchups don't make no sense. It's stupid. And so, yeah, same exact thing, man. Same exact thing, Ray. But, man, I appreciate you coming on, Ray. But we're going to get on off here, man. And, hey, if you on Facebook, hit that like, share, join. If you on YouTube, hit that like, share, subscribe. Hit that notification bell, ding, ding, ding. So you know when we're on like times like these. Do the same thing on Twitch. This thing is going to go up on Twitch right after this. And if you are on Twitter, hit that like, share, tweet, and retweet. But, man, I appreciate my man Ray Underwood coming in, and everybody, man, that's coming in. Check this thing out. And if you're not seeing it, I know a lot of you guys come in and see it a lot later. That's what happens when I do these things at night. And then the next day or two, I see 100 views on them, or more. But hopefully a lot of people come in. And like I said, don't get me and Ray wrong, man. We're not hating on AEW. We love AEW. We love it enough to where we want to see it succeed, put it that way. And I love the wrestlers working for them because, hey, without AEW, that's another big company that these guys don't have to work at. And, man, they back there working at, basically trying to get a job working in NWA Power or Impact, making $300 a match, or, doing $30,000 to $40,000 a year if they get a contract with Impact, or they are in the indies and pretty much busting their tails to get $110 or $100, $80, $75, $50, a handshake and a hot dog. That's what they're doing. They busting their tails and using their talent for that and hoping that they can get 50 to 100 people in the building. Sometimes you get 30 people in the building. I mean, it a lot of times it's awful. Sometimes you get 400 or 500. It really depends. But, man, we do not want to see these guys having to go back and work that. Have to, work that schedule and go from indie show, and basically have to, rely on these promoters to give them a little bit of money. We don't want to see that. So we definitely need AEW to survive. And WWE, they continue to make money. They're going to continue to do their thing. They're WWE, but WWE is not going to step up their game to get even better until somebody like Tony Khan decide, hey, I'm gonna run this thing serious, and we got to get better. They will make them better, and it's going to be better for the whole industry. And that way, Impact can come up. You can have NWA Power come up. You can have some indies or whatever come up, because it's going to motivate everybody else out there to say, hey, man, these guys are putting on great storylines. Every week, this thing is making sense. And they got, they put on great wrestling cards. People coming out to see them. They drawing fans from everywhere. I want to do the same thing. But, hey, if AEW flops and don't do the right thing, like I say, we're going to continue seeing what we're seeing, guys. But, Ray, man, I am out of here. And, man, you have a great night. Appreciate you coming on, and appreciate everybody coming in and check it out, especially you, JL. I see you the only one really done spoke up tonight, but I think a lot of people probably just like you, JL, you shot 2 streams in one day. But, man, yeah, we definitely appreciate you guys, and we'll see you later. Stay straight up. Peace.
Peace.